joining me, Eve, your host, for our new season of Poopology. So on this season, we have 2 guests, and they will be putting forward 2 potential pet peeves, and myself and my co-host Claire will decide on whether they deserve to be flushed down the loo or not. And our invigilator Uzma will be making the final choice if ever we are stuck and on opposite sides of the table.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or the bowl.
Because you know that's going to happen.
Opposite sides of the bowl.
Opposite sides of the pole. Well, pole?
Bowl.
Okay, so we're going to go straight on to play our game, basically. So let the games begin, people. Was that bad?
That was amazing.
Is that better? Let the games begin.
Oh God.
Okay, so first up, Nerida.
So,
Please tell us one of your items that you want us to flush down the loo for you.
okay, let's start easy. People who hog the whole of the pavement while walking.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Elaborate.
Elaborate. So it includes people as well who walk slowly. Especially when you're in a busy street or like in Oxford Circus or something. I was there yesterday, Leicester Square. And clearly there's a lot of space, but when a person just takes the middle and he doesn't go left or right, especially if you got a bag or
I
shopping
feel like
bag
this
or
is about a
something.
very particular person.
No, I think it's just like a standard image of a person who hogs the pavement. They have bags, or maybe they have a bike, but they're not on the bike, they're just pushing it along, but just to make sure you're in the middle.
I mean, I think there's a lot of tourists as well in central
Yes.
London. And I think because tourists generally don't know where they're going, and they are there to sightsee, right? So the rest of us have got somewhere to be. So we're like, gotta go get to work, I've got 20 minutes. Whereas, you know, the tourists are just kind of like, yeah, this is a nice
True.
building, this is a
But I think it's for
thing.
everyone. And when you're going down the stairs, that can happen as well. Maybe you want to pass someone going down the stairs.
Yeah.
So
that
I
person's in the
do
middle.
feel Narida's frustration though, but mine comes more from, and I feel like I can say it because I'm a parent, from side-by-side pram walkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I put them in the...
Or walking along
category.
and the entire family are holding hands.
Oh, yes.
And like they're making a fence.
And then you feel
block
like you have to break their family bond.
I saw something funny about
Or just
that.
jump. Like the smallest child and just try
I've
to...
actually
take
seen
them
that
out.
happen. I've actually seen that happen. So I was, I think, near Regent's Park. And obviously holidays, families all out, full force. And someone just got on a jog. I was just there tanning. And then this guy's on the path and he just lobs
Were you
over...
wearing your breathable underwear?
I did not own it at that
You didn't
point.
get your butt crack burnt, did you?
No. I was on my back, so no chance of that happening. But no, so this guy just on a jog, just straight jumped over the smallest kid,
Oh my god.
and the kid was at least 6 years old. So it's not like it's a 3-year-old that's just easy to jump over. He hurdled this guy.
Easy to jump over. Like, you have different age limits and sizes.
No, a
No,
six-
0 to 18 months is,
Okay.
okay. 6 years we're looking at least
No,
gold
but
medals
this was
going
a solid jump over a child, and then obviously the parents aren't that far away, so he's got a little gap, pretty high jump, and then he's kind of got to go sideways to get through the parental gap.
Well, there you go, Narita. Now you know what to do.
She's got long legs,
Take
so
a
she
leap,
can do
man.
it.
Next time, a tip for me.
A leap of faith.
Yeah, I mean, I
Risk it.
kind of agree with you, Narita. I do find those people annoying too. But I am guilty of being the person who's slowed down the stairs. And I feel like if we put these people, if we flush them down the toilet, this is going to be an issue. Because eventually we're all going to get a bit older. And we're all going to slow down. And we're going to hold up a lot of people. So, I don't know. I don't know
but
if
maybe
we can...
go on the side, not in the middle. That's just so simple. Just
Walk
step
in a
to the
single
left or step
line.
to the right. And let me just squeeze myself past. I don't need a lot of space, or I will jump. Yeah.
There should
have-
be lanes for walking like
Yes.
there is for driving, like
That's what I was
fast
gonna
lane,
say.
slow lane. I mean,
Yes.
There should be a
Like,
tourist lane.
on a tube.
to the tourist thing. This is the one where you'll see most of the sites at a very slow pace.
Do you know what is annoying, and it kind of fits in with Narita's complaint, is when you're walking down the street and someone comes out of a shop and they don't look. It's similar to when you pull out of an intersection when you're driving. I feel like because I am walking down the street, I have right of way, and the person just coming out of the shop that has to merge into the traffic.
Do you know
God,
what?
there
I
should be
think
traffic light.
we should have hats with like the lights fixed so you can indicate, you can indicate which direction you're going to go in. Because that's the other one. When someone is slow in front of you and you do that thing, you do that little shuffle, sideways shuffle. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go around them on the right side. You take a step to the right, they take a step to the right, and then you're like, I'm gonna go around the left side. You take a step to the left, and then you have this little dance where you're both just stepping right and left. So if you had a hat with some indicators on it,
Yeah.
you would just not have this problem. Would
Some
you?
people, they look the other way, they walk, they look left, but they go right. I don't understand that. It's
They're
like
trying
they
to
look
trick
in
you.
one way and they just
Trick
go
you.
in the other. So what?
No look
Okay, I'm
pass.
going this way then.
Okay, so Azza, what is your first item you want to flush down the loo?
Cyclists. Cyclists frustrate me so very much.
Hashtag triggered.
So triggered. Your thing triggered me as well, but cyclists trigger me so much.
I think you should explain what triggered is.
I get the vibe of triggered, but
Just evoking a trigger is just evoking like a pretty, not a negative emotion, but just an aggressive dislike.
It's similar to like grind your gears, It's
I don't think you're making it any better, Narita.
So
I get the vibe.
just something that gets the just something that gets your emotions
Triggered.
just hypes up those emotions. So cyclists do that for me.
So, okay, triggered is an adjective. It's a response caused by a particular action, process, or situation.
And what's the other one?
Grind your gears.
grind your
I've
gears.
heard that before.
It's from Family Guy, I think. I'm not sure, but I've heard it in Family
I've
Guy.
heard a lot of people from Essex say grind my gears.
Oh, my
So I drive to work, then I drive home from work. And
In your pants?
In your special
in my
pants.
special new pants that
How do
can
you
breathe.
pronounce that? Spiffle?
Oh, Asma's gonna be a new face on the underwear. Oh, his crack.
Holla at me. I'm expensive though, so
You are a huge nerd.
You're having too much fun with that.
I know, I love it.
So I have come close to hitting many cyclists over the last few months since I started driving to work.
Is that because you're a bad driver? Because the cyclists have a
I'm
problem.
an amazing driver. I take care of the
No,
cyclists.
I think it's I'm an excellent driver.
I'm an excellent driver, and I take care of the cyclists because I know that if I do hit one of them, it's going to cost me a lot of money, even though it's their fault, right? But
So caring of you.
but that's the thing I don't like. I don't want to have to take care of the cyclists because they didn't look over their shoulder before they changed lanes. Because a lot of the time, there's a bus lane, then there's my lane, in theory, right? They're meant to be in the bus lane, but a bus pulls over at a bus stop. They don't look, they just come out. I've had my wing mirror clipped so many times, and I've nearly tried to chase them, but I'm stuck in traffic, they're not. But I find them in the end, and then I'm just like, why did you do that?
Are you secretly just because you just said, I'm stuck in traffic, they're not. Are you just jealous of them? Is this like one of those jealousy hates, where you pretend you don't like this girl,
They hit my
but
car
it's
and
because
ran
she's
off.
prettier than you?
They hit my car and then ran off. That's not a hit, that's a hit and run. No?
And I
like
something else.
Extreme. No.
Like, they touched my car, which they're not meant to do. It annoys me. And they're not regulated, they go through red lights, they turn when they're not meant to turn. They come into my lane when they're not meant to be there. They get in my way. Like, I don't understand why there's a cycle box at traffic lights. Because they're going to move off slower than every other vehicle on the road. But then they stop right in front of you. And you're just like, why? Why would you do that? Because now it's going to take me a good minute just to get around you because there's traffic coming on the other side of the road.
I mean, I think, you see, we've previously had a little conversation about cyclists and drivers and pedestrians. And again, you know, I understand your point. Some cyclists are crazy. I've actually been run over by a cyclist once before.
I have stats for that.
So I do understand. I do understand where you're coming from. And I have seen them do some crazy things in traffic. But I still don't know if I can flush them down the toilet because... I mean, I would totally be a cyclist if there were more cycle lanes in the universe.
I think there's one particular cyclist we could flush down the loo.
Who's that?
Armstrong. He could go down the loo.
You are one pathetic loser.
No, there's a lot of benefits to cycling. I understand that. But then there's the cyclists that don't care. I don't know if they care about themselves because they just want to die and jump in front of my car.
But isn't...
Or, like, they're just not regulated. They need to be regulated better.
But really, does that mean that you would actually prefer to put the government in Room 101 rather than, cyclists?
No, because there's some good cyclists.
The regulation...
There's some nice cyclists.
No, but the regulation comes from people, not the cyclists. You know, if drivers were unregulated, do you think they would drive the way they drive? And more to the point, you said some cyclists... Well, I've seen some really stupid drivers too.
That's true. But the thing is, they're punished more than the cyclists are.
Exactly, because of the lack of regulation.
So there was a guy that got sent to prison for 2 years for killing a woman for dangerously cycling. The sentence for someone doing that with a car is 14 years.
Yeah.
So what was the difference? What one was just, a ton, but one vehicle's a few grams or kilo.
Well, the end result was the same, isn't it? Someone has died regardless. So I guess what you have used to kill them should be irrelevant.
Exactly.
But again, isn't that about legislation rather than the cyclists themselves?
Yes, and I would like to change it, but I can't. So I'm just going to rant
Well,
about it.
maybe you should try.
I signed the petition. There was a petition to make...
You signed it or started it?
No, I signed it because I wasn't smart enough to sign it at the time. But I signed the petition. Obviously, I don't know if nothing will obviously happen, but that was to get cyclists to have... One of them was for them to have indicators. One of them was to make sure they all had licenses and then have like some sort of reg plate.
Yeah.
So then they could be identified.
Yeah.
And they have insurance, they have all of that stuff. Because at the moment, they don't have insurance.
Yeah.
They might have insurance as an object, but not as, like, driving
Against,
insurance.
Accidents and whatever.
So say they came out of a red light and they just smashed into someone's car, they have to pay for it out of their own pocket because they don't have insurance for the bike.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, so, I mean, I agree. I think that there should be some changes in legislation and... some better regulation. I think that probably a lot of cyclists there are out there that also feel like some of that should happen. Because even as a cyclist, if you have another dangerous cyclist in front of you, I see that sometimes where there's the guy who thinks he's on Tour de France. He's got the whole get-up and he's cycling like faster than the cars. And then there's some other more normal human beings cycling alongside. And this guy terrorises not only the cars, the pedestrians and other cyclists because he's so erratic and fast and doing crazy stuff.
It's that person that's dipping in and out of the driving lane.
Yeah.
Because obviously during rush hour you have probably like 6 cyclists next to each other, but this person wants to go around them, so he has to come into the one where there's normal cars.
Yeah.
So it's that guy.
It's that guy that needs to be regulated properly. And also...
No, he's the one you want to flush, right?
I want to flush him so bad. Because the thing is also, I drive on a lot of 20 miles an hour roads. I don't stick to the speed limit. I'm not going to claim that I do. But they are not sticking to the speed limit at all. Because some of them can actually go very quickly on their bikes.
Yeah.
And I
Neil
know...
Armstrong, for example.
He can go close to 100. So
You are one pathetic loser. loser.
But like,
That's
So-
your favourite button, isn't it?
No, that should just be it for Neil Armstrong. Anytime anyone says that, he's
You
named.
are one pathetic loser.
no, so I'll be driving at 15 miles an hour, 20, which is the speed limit, because that's what the traffic
4 or 5 maybe.
maybe. But this cyclist has just blew down the whole road and is just dipping in and out.
Okay, so decision time on the first round.
Well,
How the
I feel the pain of the cyclists, I really do, because I'm a driver. And I agree with you on the bit where they're all at the front of the lights. That is kind of annoying because then we all have to
yeah.
wait. So that I think that there is a possibility that that could slow traffic up. I think that there are cyclists who potentially are ridiculous. All the gear, no idea. They're the ones that I'd probably want to flush. But I think I'm going to lean more towards people who pay no attention when they're walking down the street. That is annoying.
Excuse me. No.
Okay, so I think Azza, in your case.
Epic fail.
Sorry about that.
Do you agree with me?
I'm
Yeah,
not-
I do.
I'm
I
not
do.
that bothered. I just got a lot
And
off
then-
my chest just now.
and
so.
Very therapeutic session for you.
And the reader, in your case.
Getting slow. Getting slow.
I'm not getting like you are. I don't know why you're pointing at me.
So we have flushed slow walkers and pavement hoggers into the toilet, and
Good riddance.
unfortunately, cyclists are still around
Why?
now.
for now.
Why?
Great. So Narita, your pet hate number 2.
So I'm gonna go with double standards.
Okay.
Really, it's quite a really common topic these days. Double standards, and I can see us already smiling because I know it like triggers him sometimes when I talk about these things. So double standards is like a principle of applying to different people or groups when you take a subject. The examples I can think of right now are usually like
An
to do with-
example of when someone pissed
Yeah.
you off with your with their double
or
standard.
when someone says a woman should do this, like if a man has a lot of women, he's considered macho, and if a female does exactly the same thing, she's being put down and she's being called names. So that's all double standards. Absolutely hate those.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Double standards are really annoying. People who kind of flip-flop and think there's a one rule for one person or
Yeah.
one type of person and another rule for everybody else
Yeah.
are genuinely annoying.
Yes.
She's taking
Vigorously taking notes.
Making sure she makes the
Writing
correct
down
decision.
thoughts. I'm writing down my thoughts. I completely agree. Double standards suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they potentially come from people who are unable to make up their own mind and perhaps get swayed by group discussions. Yeah.
General group.
I don't think there's ever a case when a double standard is okay. I can't actually
No.
think of...
I'm trying to think.
Oh, actually, maybe if you're a parent.
Potentially.
Like, no, you have ate too much chocolate, but I can eat as much chocolate as I want in bed when you're not around, for example.
But that's children's rules and adult rules, so they really aren't double standards.
Okay.
That's just because you want to eat chocolate at night.
I think that's what all mums say, but that's fine.
Biased opinion.
I feel like it could also relate to friendship groups. 'Cause I have quite a large friendship groups, but everyone's kind of treated, not everyone, but some people are treated differently because that's just the way they are. So if there's certain people, if they say maybe, it's actually a maybe. But if another person says maybe, they're saying no to you. But you're still going to chase them up and get no response from them for days.
Is that a double standard, though?
Yeah, I don't think it is
Yeah.
double standard. It's more of a.
No, but you don't let that
What?
person off because...
Oh, I can feel this.
Are you saying you have
this
a
is
double
aimed
standard
at
because
me
you're-
because I am a
Yeah,
big
no, so
maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I know, I'm your best friend. Yeah.
Maybe. No.
So, like,
Small
I know
print.
the people that actually mean maybe, so I don't really chase them up. I'll let them be.
I mean, I think that's a different pet peeve, though. I agree. I hate maybeers, by the way. Just to reconfirm, if that was something you wanted to flush down the loo, I would flush it without any further discussion.
It's on my list. But
Because I don't like the no maybeers, because I just think, just be honest and say no if you want to say no. What is the point in the maybe? You know, I don't really like maybe no's. But I don't think that's what Narita's talking about.
No, it's like, I have a few examples. Like, if a man is commanding people around, he's being assertive. And if a woman does the exact same thing, she's being bossy.
Yeah.
That kind of example. Or when a man leaves a woman, he's a big meanie who broke her heart, etc. And when a woman does the same thing, she deserves better and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Double standards.
I thought this was all
Double
being negative
standards,
towards women for a second.
No.
No.
Everything flows both ways.
Yeah, and so what if she's a feminist?
What? I don't have a problem with feminism. Extreme feminism upsets me.
So what in terms of parenting, what in terms of double standards, what sometimes annoys me is when you see a single mum and she looks after all the kids and braids their hair and does all their lunches and everything, and then you see a dad who takes the child out for the day and maybe he'll do a video of himself braiding the child's hair and everyone's like, oh my god, you're amazing.
I've seen that.
No, he just brushed her hair.
Yeah.
I know a few dads who love taking care of their kids, and I mean, yeah, they might look adorable because women have that soft spot for a man. And you can see, like, it's like a man's weakness. You see him with a child, and you see his sensitive side. Well, we all used to see men as a strong figure, and that's why women go, oh my god. But I think it's normal, it's natural. They want to take care of the child as much as
It is, but it is slightly double standards when you look at it.
Oh,
Why are you not giving
The
the single mum the kudos that you've given the single dad for
Yeah.
basically doing the same job of braiding the hair? So
Yeah.
that is the double standard.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Azza, what's your second item that you want to flush down the loo?
So my second item is bags on tubes, trains, public transport.
Get in!
I am bigger now.
So there's a lot of different scenarios where bags are annoying on public transport. One of the biggest ones is someone that has a big backpack. I'm one of those people. I'm a very large person, so it doesn't help anyone, but you have to take it off when you get on the tube. You don't take it off when you're on the tube, you take it off at the doors and you walk in with it in your hand. I even take my jacket off during the winter because my jacket is big. It takes up way too much space, but I can hold it close to me. But you need to make yourself so small during rush hour because everyone's going to try and get on that tube. And if you haven't taken it off, I will take it off for you.
Drag it off you. I will attack you and take your bag.
No, so I wear my bag quite tight. Some people do not. So it's easy, just a slip of the finger and it just falls. So it works. But
Have you actually done that?
yeah.
Did they
Oh
know it
my
was you,
God.
or did they think it had just sort of...
I mean, try to adjust it.
Sometimes I let them know it was me.
And then they turn around, they go, oh sorry.
Something like that. Sometimes I just turn around because it's fully fallen on the floor, and then they have no space because everyone else has just gone into that space that the bag has left. So that, and then another one is bags on chairs, on tubes. Move your bag at every stop.
Or pay for 2 seats.
Pay for 2 seats on public
Get
transport.
your bag an Oyster card.
Just stick the Oyster card to the bag. This guy paid. It's
Oh,
fine.
that happened every single time I got on tube yesterday. There was a seat, but there was a bag on the seat. So at the end of the day, I just stood in front of the seat with the bag on, and I just stood there waiting for a woman to get her bag without any
say
words
something.
being said.
Yeah, I say something
Excuse me.
too.
I will purposely pick those people out though. If I see a tube and there's maybe 5 empty seats and someone has put their bag on one, I will want to sit in that seat.
I do that.
See, me and Osmo had this conversation earlier. I still don't understand that. Like, it's an empty tube.
No, it's not.
There's 5 empty seats. It's an empty tube.
think it's a,
Oh, now
it's
in
a
a
matter
turn
of
of fate,
principle.
you're like supporting the bag chair.
No,
Teaching
If-
someone a lesson, you know.
If it's not busy, if it's busy, I'm talking about rush hour. I don't know if you've noticed, both my topics are about rush hour.
I mean,
rush
just
hour
like people have road rage, I have travel rage.
Yeah,
so
no,
Usman
yeah.
knows this
100%.
really well. I have total and utter travel rage. Like I feel like I need some kind of specialist help to actually like resolve this issue, because I feel like I could physically attack people, and I was explaining this on another episode in the previous season. I have before yanked someone out of a tube because from the hood of their jacket because they just jumped in front of me, and I'm thinking, do I look like a tosser? There's like 15 people waiting in a queue here. Get to the back. Like, what the hell are you doing? So I do things like that. I regularly like actually swear at people and shout at them, and I completely would not have done what you did, Narita. I would totally go and say, excuse me, do you mind moving your bag, please? And I say things like, I tap people on the shoulder, do you mind taking your bag off? And I push people, and I make purposeful extra effort to like dig my elbows into people that are just not moving.
I do that.
You're just like, why are you not moving? Like, what the
I
hell
do.
is
I like
wrong
to
with
lean
you?
on
I do that to
on
people on
purpose.
escalators. So there's a standing side, it's the right hand side. Everyone
Everyone
knows
knows
that, right?
Jinx.
But you hug that rubber thing, like you stand up against it. Because if people are trying to walk up, they're not meant to touch you. So if you're in my way, I will make sure you know I touched you. So I've had someone I've had someone standing 3/4 the way across the step, and I barged them. They've fallen over, like they just dropped, because I was that angry that he was in my way. Maybe I was just having a bad day, but I just remember that bit of that day.
I mean, I tend to resort for like, excuse me or do you mind? And if I get more attitude, or the person is clearly aggressive, that's when I start getting seriously aggressive. And generally, I think I scare people because they do just stop doing whatever they were doing. It's like, okay, I thought I was bad, but this bitch is nuts. I better stop now before she literally punches me in the nose.
So this is years ago, and we were living in Streatham, and we'd just recently moved, and I was going down to the train station to get my ticket. I was working in Victoria, and because of the way the station is set up, if there's a big queue for your weekly ticket, you'd have to walk. People would have to walk through the line. So we were sort of standing in a curve, so people could still walk in and out of the station. And there was a young girl in front of me, and we were on the curve bit, and this woman comes in, and she just stands in front of this young girl. And I said to her, and I thought, is this girl going to say anything? I said, oh, excuse me, that's not the end of the queue. And she turned and she looked at me and she said, well, why don't you stand in the line then properly, you stupid bitches? And I was just like, whoa, it's like 8 o'clock on a
Pull my
Monday
earrings.
morning, what's going on?
that explains a lot.
So she went and stood behind me, and I'm thinking, oh my god, what's she going to do? And as I went up, I took a very long time ordering my ticket because I thought she's just been super rude. And as I walked away, she came up to the counter and she went to order her ticket. And I came back and I said to her, oh, I hope you have a lovely day. And she turned around and she went, oh, thanks to you. It's you. And I ran off down the stairs.
Oh my god.
She was evil.
God, I hope I meet her one day.
Just have to go south.
So super aggressive to us. I thought I was being really nice.
I think we would make a great team. Me and her might actually kill each other on the train. Okay, so Claire, what's your take on the two toilet flush items?
It's a difficult choice. It's a difficult choice, but I'm leaning more towards the public transport because I feel that it affects everybody on a daily basis, and I think that I would go for bags on seats.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, as I pointed out, I have super duper anger management issues regarding this. So if I don't flush this down the toilet, it will haunt me for life. And double standards, as annoying as it is, and some of the examples that you gave are certainly like really, really annoying and unacceptable. But there are times, like I said, mums and kids, and even kids and mums, you know, now that my mum's, I was going to say old, but I don't know if I should say that. Much older, and I'm also much older. You know, I feel like even I would, you know, have certain double standards with her, more for her because I care about her rather than, you know, anything else, not for a malicious reason. So, I think as a...
That was a long flush. That is a long flush.
Wow.
Probably,
It was a big
probably a lot of people putting their bags on seats.
Hang on, I got a fart somewhere as well. I just can't find it right now. Okay, forget the fart. I can't find it. Thank you for joining us on the first episode of season 2 of Poopology, and please come back next Monday.
I don't know if it's true. There's an urban myth about. So we're talking about one of my pet peeves is young people who wear jeans around by their butts and with their pants hanging up.
Yeah.
And the urban myth is supposed to come from prison, right?
Yeah.
Where
I'm
if
available.
you were
Why in prison
sexually
do you want
available.
half your pants down? Like it
No,
says
so-
one
It's a
place.
sign.
It's a sign.
No,
sorry.
it's a sign.
It's a sign
to
to
let them
say
know
that
you're
you-
available for that activity.
What the?
The reaction was too much.
You better shut your mouth before I